afternoon, everyone. It is a beautiful day in Dallas today. It's the kind of day where we just want to get outside and enjoy that sunshine. And I am with the two most sunshiny people in the whole wide world right here. I'm with Sandi Greenberg, who's the Director of Nursing at Cambridge Caregivers, Manchester Care Homes. And we have a special guest today. We have one of the many fabulous, but maybe the most fabulous caregivers from Manchester, and is Anita Mupingo, who's joining us today. And Anita actually works with individual residents, and she's going to tell us how everything, goes when you are in this position, which is a very, very special job because you've got these beautiful people that are they're at a certain point in their life. They need a lot of love and tender loving care, and you guys give it to them, right, Anita?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Thank
It's
you.
a very fulfilling job, and I'm so happy to be working, especially for this company.
Well, it's a great
Yeah.
company, and it is the kind of a company where you do want to you want to trust your loved ones. You just don't want them anywhere. We learned that over this whole last year, which, by the way, Sandy, it's been a year. Can you believe it?
No, actually, we were talking about that earlier, this was the week that we shut down as a company. And then the state, I think, was 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you
Remember
guys
that?
were 2 weeks ahead of
We
the
were,
state.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were just, the trendsetters.
Yes, you were. And I won't say anything. I know they just opened up Texas, but we'll probably all be 2 weeks behind the state too, those of us, because we're still being very cautious and
Mhm.
safe. And I know you all are too. So Anita, what was life like last year at this time in March of 2020? We were all freaked out, and you were entrusted with taking
Mhm.
care of these beautiful people who were family members to some, very influential and just ordinary people in Dallas, but
Mhm.
they were placed in your care. How did you guys relate to them? How did your relationship change with COVID? Because no one was allowed in to see them,
No,
correct?
no, ma'am. I mean, it was especially challenging at first because we had family members coming in almost every day, seeing their family members and sitting with them at dinner time. And, it was especially challenging when we enforced the rules that they couldn't come and visit their family members anymore. Um, but I'm so grateful that with challenges come opportunities to do something that we never thought we would do. And so we incorporated using FaceTime more, Skype. And we have one family member that up until today, she is so grateful that she was able to Skype with her mom on a daily basis. When I was there, I would call her and say, are you ready for a Skype call with your mom? And up until today, she is so appreciative of the fact that we found a way for her to still see her mom even when she was not able to see her physically. And you could tell too when her mom was talking to her on the phone on Skype, she was responsive, she knew who she was talking to. So things like that, just being mindful of other options, other alternatives that they were, for family members to still see their parents, their moms, and also just taking pictures. And when we were doing activities with them, sitting with them, taking them outside when it was nice and sunshiny like today, things like that. Family members did really tell us that they appreciated seeing photos of their moms and smiling, playing ball outside, and planting flowers and things like that. So I think it really opened our minds to so many things that we could do outside of just having family members coming in. So I think, yeah, that was a great opportunity for the caregivers to kind of go outside of the box and think outside of the box.
And that's sort of how you guys became more like you became the family members
Yes.
because, and of course, Sandy, you made this decision, which was, we know now, was an amazing decision because you kept COVID out of all your homes. I mean, she was amazing. What she did should be replicated everywhere. I mean, she did the best job. And I know we talked about this and you said, yep, this is what we're going to do. And, she watched. And the hard part, the challenge for you is not necessarily keeping out the family members, because they also knew that once they found out, what was going on, they didn't want to bring COVID to their loved ones. But, monitoring the staff, Anita, and you can probably talk to that, how the staff was so careful too, because they knew, because you all are such long-term employees,
Mhm.
you have such a relationship with
Yes, ma'am.
this company, that you
Hmm.
knew what you had to do to
Yes, ma'am.
keep
I
the.
think one of the things too that I really appreciate Dean for doing is changing our schedules from, because we used to have three shifts: 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., 2 p.m. to 10 p.m., and then 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. But we shifted it to just two. That way, there wasn't too many people coming in and out of the houses, and I think that played a huge role in keeping COVID out of the houses. And so we're just doing 12 hours, even up until now. We're doing 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. And just being conscious of the fact that if we had COVID, our residents were going to get COVID. So we took extra precautions with, I mean, I stopped going to church. I mean, I'm a church loving girl, but I had to stop going to church too. And lots, I mean, our staff is especially at where I am at Queens Ferry, they would just come to work and go back home. The only time they were going out was to go to the store to buy groceries. And so being conscious of things like that, I think it helped in keeping COVID. And like you rightfully said, Candy, like Sandy had rules that she enforced, especially when it came to when we opened up our houses to our visitors. They had to be there at a certain time and stay for just a certain time, and we had to ask them questions before they enter, take their temperature outside, not have them in any of the common areas, but just in their family members' room. And I think having those rules, they were not popular at first with the family members, but essentially they worked. And
They,
so
they came around to seeing the results of these rules.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly. How do the caregivers care for the residents individually? How do you know that Mrs. Jones does like to do FaceTime, where, Mr. Jones or another resident doesn't like to do anything with the phone, and would prefer, his hand being held? I mean, how do
mhm,
you know that a resident prefers massages over,
mhm,
chatting? And I'm
mhm.
sure that chatting is a big factor too. I can imagine when I'm
Yes.
in your home, I'm going to be
Mhm.
chatting with everyone.
We'll be chatting away, Candy. We will do the same thing over and over again, but we will be talking for sure.
We can do, like I said, we are spending 12 hours a day with these people who have, I mean, over the year have become like our family because their family was not able to come and see
Right,
them. And
right.
so when you spend that amount of time with somebody, you're bound to know everything about them. And even things that even their daughters and sons and grandsons didn't even know. And so I think it's especially important to remember how unique everyone is, especially at our house. We have old ladies. We don't have any gentlemen just yet, but we know each and every one of them because they're unique. Just like you're unique, just like Sandy's unique. I'm unique in my own way, and so we have certain residents that when they're starting to feel, a bit agitated or low, when you just play some music that they liked back in the day, music from the 40s or 30s, I mean, you would just see them light up. And we have residents where we have Dean and Sandy bought us some baby dolls, some pretty baby dolls. We have residents that when you just give her the baby doll, they feel like they're holding their grandbaby or their son.
Oh,
So it's amazing that when you get to spend this much time with them, that Mrs. Smith is she just wants you to sit with her and just ask her how growing up in Arkansas was. We have a resident that she will talk to you about, how she grew up and when she got married, the first car she drove. I mean, just that 15 to 20 minutes of sitting there and listening, I mean, it changes her whole day. It makes her whole day. So it's just about, I mean, like I said, we spend 12 hours with these ladies every day, and so we're bound to know what they like and what they don't like, and so It's been a blessing.
Sounds like it's a sorority over there.
It is the way the residents light, they just get the light in their eyes when they see the caregivers coming to interact with them or have a conversation or give them a manicure. You can see the change in their facial expression. It's truly amazing. I mean,
Well, I
the
mean, Anita, you have the most beautiful smile, and
Oh, thank you.
I can just imagine how, how that would just light up
Oh, thank
everyone
you.
to have you come over and say hello or good morning, even at 6 in
Oh.
the morning.
funny.
I appreciate you saying that.
Well,
Sure.
and so you have handled a challenging situation. COVID obviously being the most challenging. Was that the most challenging you've ever had?
I mean, to date, I think it's one of the most challenging, but I think for me, the most challenging is when one of our residents passes away.
Yeah.
That has got to be the most challenging thing. I mean, because you grow so attached to them. I mean, I we have one resident that passed away last year, and she was in the back corner of the house, and every time I would walk down the hallway, I would say, "Good morning, Miss Jones," and she would say, "I'm right here, honey." And when she passed away and I walked down that hallway and it was quiet, I mean, I broke down in tears. And so I think that has got to be the most challenging parts of this job. It's caring for them is so fulfilling, it's so meaningful, but when they do pass away, I mean, I can't explain the feeling of sadness and sorrow, especially when they've spent so much time at the house. I mean, we've had residents that were just there for a month, but we grew so attached to them. And even when they passed away, it was really sad. So for me personally, and I think I can speak for my coworkers at Queensferry that it has been the most challenging part of our job, losing one of our residents.
And that's something that you just have to deal with because you are this is your client. I mean, your client is at that point in their life where, unfortunately life is finite, and we know that this is a stage and you're at
Mhm.
that last stage. And so the training and the art of taking care of people at this stage in life, it is an art. And
Mhm.
so I'm sure that's very difficult to deal with because you put everything into them and then they're gone, and that's
Yeah.
so sad. But at least the happy thing for me is that you are giving these people a very, very happy experience, a very happy
I hope
experience,
so.
probably the best that they could have at this
I
point.
hope
Don't you
so.
agree, Sandy?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I can't imagine, I always tell families that, when we're talking about people moving in, that, our goal with caregivers, my goal as a company is to make this time of their life as peaceful and comfortable as possible because it's a challenging time and they can't control their actions or, how they're interacting. So it's our job to meet them where they are, to enter their world and make it as beautiful as we can. And
Mhm.
I think that our caregivers do a phenomenal job of that. It's something like I have never seen before.
It's amazing. And so, really, to wrap this up, we have an amazing caregiver right here, Anita. And I just I thank you so very much for giving us this little glimpse into what your world is like. And I'm going to wrap with this. Anita is studying to become a social worker. Yes, I mean you really are a social worker in what you do, but you're getting an official degree in that.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
how has what you've been doing with Cambridge and Manchester kind of helped in that regard in your studies and in your
Mhm.
future with social work?
Yeah, I mean, it has not only served as a training ground, but it has made me realize just what I want to do with my social work degree because social work is so broad. You
Yeah.
can pretty much do anything with social work, but I think working with the elderly has made me know what I want, which is to be a social worker for the geriatric population because I mean, it's a population that I've fallen in love with over the past couple of years, and they're still so many things that need to be done in order to help them transition, um, to that aging population. There's so many factors that still need to be put into place. So i'm I'm excited to be, hopefully, to be still working with the aging population once I graduate with my master's. I'm going to get my bachelor's and then my master's degree. So I think working with them has made me narrow down my options to who I really want to work with in the future.
That's wonderful. And that's a population that is growing by leaps and bounds.
Hmm.
So we need
Yes.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
We
thank,
need you, Anita,
thank you, Candy.
for sure. Okay.
Thank you. Well, ladies, thank you. I'm going to let you get outside because it's so stunning. It's like 68 or 70 degrees. And I know you're going to want to take some of those beautiful residents of yours outside to just soak up the sunshine.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank
I
you,
can
Candy.
see
Thank
it
you
from
so
the
much for having us.
Oh, thank you for coming into our little salon. Salon CandysDirt right here. Thank you guys so, so much. You all have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next month.
Thank you. You too.